Welcome back, guys, to Standard Time. TikTok from Standard Time.
Today we're going to be discussing whether you would consider a Rolex Datejust as a dress watch, an everyday watch, or sort of a stainless steel sports model.
So, yeah, the main question would then be, okay, well, let's first tackle with the first one. Is the Datejust a dress watch?
I think it's sold as a dress watch, right?
Yes. It's for sure sold as a dress watch, a bit more
because it's a small case size.
Smaller case size. It fits on the cuff.
Yeah, exactly. I think so, and the dial sizes. Unless you go for just 41, let's look at the 36 for a bit.
Okay. Let's look at
that's definitely supposed to be a dress watch. 36 millimeter, small case, slim, and very sleek, and the dial is very clean. I think most of the dial options are just plain colors to choose from.
Yeah.
And let's say the non-fluted bezel, the no bezel version, the smooth
bezel, and a fluted bezel.
That's typically always only in a dress watch. Otherwise
exactly.
you'd have some kind of marking for.
And also like the size, or like the size that it originally came from. So like a lot of Datejust, or like the whole Datejust line has been usually 34 and 36s.
Yeah.
Nowadays they
have the
came
41,
with the 41s, but it's usually 36, 34s.
And they're kind of smaller watches in general, and they're more elegant.
Yes.
But they're quite flashy now also, because of the polished center links in the bracelet. You can get them because you have the Oyster bracelet on the Oyster Perpetuals, which is completely brushed, and you have almost the same bracelet on the Datejust, usually with polished center links, and that really reflects light well.
No, that's kind of a cool thing that Rolexes have the polished center links. So there is a contrast between just the bracelet.
Yeah, it really catches your attention quickly. You can't really tell what exactly a Datejust is from a distance because it looks too similar to any other watch. But then when you see that contrast between the brushed outer links and then the center polished links, then it's quite obvious that it's off value.
Yeah. A Datejust can be identified from far away just by the date window, like an iconic Rolex date window.
Oh, you mean the Cyclops?
Yeah, the Cyclops. Sorry, yes. Which I feel, it's only Rolex that does it.
Yeah, Seiko also does it on one of their, I think, Samurai patties, but it's not quite. What's the word? Oblong. I don't know.
Oblong.
Because the Rolex one is sort of curved on the sides and flat at the tops, like geoid, I think. And the Seiko one's a complete, very circular teardrop shape.
Okay.
I think other companies do it too, but yeah, I think Rolex introduced that.
So when we talk about the Datejust being a dress watch, we then have to take into account like the Datejust family, which I feel begins with the Oyster Perpetuals.
Yeah.
So Oyster Perpetuals, and Datejust is just the date version of an Oyster Perpetual.
Yeah.
And then,
but it's one of the first watches Rolex kind of released back. I think back in 1930s is when the Datejust came about. 20 years before the Submariner. It looked quite a lot different. But I think that was when the mechanism was sort of new to have a date.
No, and like that was actually one of Rolex's
huge first Oyster case. It came with I think the Datejust, if I'm not wrong.
Okay. Like that was one of their huge innovations, just the date, because of course the perpetual calendars and like annual calendars, all these stuff had been there before in pocket watches. But on a wristwatch, Rolex like premiered this date wristwatch, and it has a huge history. The Datejust, it's very nice, the history and like all this.
So if we look at the 36, would you agree that that's a dress watch?
I disagree. It is not a dress watch.
What would you classify that?
When I think of a dress watch, I feel something that you would put on with a suit, but not a regular occasion suit. So you can have the jackets and jackets
like a sport coat.
Yeah, sport coats and all this. You can have a steel watch with that, and it doesn't.
So kind of smart casual.
Smart casual, and I feel Datejust looks beautiful on it. But I also feel a Submariner looks beautiful on it.
I mean, did you have that same thing where people used to wear Submariners or Seamasters or similar watch Daytonas with suits?
Yes, exactly.
And I think people just change their opinions over time. It's not like those watches were always accepted with suits. It's just that as of recent, a lot of people started doing it, so that became the norm. I think that could occur with pretty much virtually any watch.
Yes.
Outside of maybe some kind of plastic Richard Mille, but
no, exactly. Well, some people are using Richard Milles as in suits, and okay, that's fine, that's your style. But when I think of a dress watch, I do not picture an Oyster Perpetual or a Datejust.
You're thinking about something with a leather strap.
Yes, I'm thinking for sure something with a leather
plain
strap.
dial, no seconds.
No, I don't think of a plain dial.
Or you think about the...
I'm thinking of
calendars.
Complications.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm thinking
perpetual
of
calendars, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, but that would make the watch not so slim in most circumstances.
Yes.
Unless you look at maybe the JLC Ultra Thin. Is that what you would classify as your ideal dress watch?
Yes, I would classify something like that as an ideal dress watch. And thin wise, it doesn't have to be too thin. It just doesn't have to cover the. It just needs to slide under the cuff. Yeah.
What about something like a Patek 5712 on a leather strap? Would that be a dress watch?
Well, first, no.
Because it's what you said. It's
no.
Calendar.
It's still
annual
too.
calendar, I think.
It's too big.
But
So
it's 40mm case size.
Yeah.
And
I still think 40 is a bit too big. I
about
don't know. I don't
10,
know.
11 millimeters thick. Well, I think maybe a little less.
I don't know if the
It's about the same thickness as a Datejust, I think.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if the 5712 slides under the cuff, but it's still not what I picture when I imagine a dress watch. Now, of course, that doesn't mean because I don't picture it as a dress watch, it's not a dress watch.
Yeah.
Some people wear Richard Milles on suits, and I guess if that's your style, that's your style.
Yeah, but that's changing it up, I mean, that's very subjective.
Yes.
But if you had to classify all watches into different categories,
yes,
you look at dress, diver is for sure.
Dress.
You know what divers are. Because they're very specifically designed, but
yes,
dress and casual wear it kind of overlaps, but sports, I don't exactly know what they mean by stainless steel sports, because that's
dress. I guess then it comes into dress and then sports, because in sports you would have all these categories like aviation, diver,
field watch.
That's the one I was thinking. And yeah,
but then why would you ever wear something with a steel bracelet apart from diving for anything? Okay, let's not think about diving or aviation. There you don't move that much. But let's say field sports, any type of physically active sport, you would never wear metallic bracelet, right?
Yeah. That's why usually these aviation watches or field watches don't come with bracelet, or at least they're not what you think with a bracelet. So for example,
but you could look at the GMT Master Line. I mean, that's basically a Submariner with a GMT hand.
Yeah, it is aviation though. I mean, in that also same note, the Tudors Submariners, which have a history of being military watches, I think for France.
Yeah.
When they gave the watches to the army and stuff, they came on the original steel bracelets, but they also
they must have had a NATO.
They also gave you a NATO.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make a lot of sense for you to be wearing a steel watch or a steel bracelet in many cases.
So what's called the stainless steel, the sports watches? what would you call them in like a real world application? If you have your categories as dress, aviation, diver, field watch. Is there any category we're missing out? No, I don't think so.
Field watch, yeah.
Well, complicated watches, that's dress.
Complications,
I guess.
I mean, not all complications are dress, but some.
I think hot.
I mean,
like would be dress.
Stainless steel sports watch. By that you're referring then to like AP, Royal Oak.
The typical ones. Yeah,
the typical. Yeah.
The Rolex stainless steel line.
I think that's what they created in the 80s. They needed to create this just like new category of watches, and out of necessity, of course.
Yeah.
Like they
were just trying to recover from the
they were trying to recover from the quartz crisis, and because of like the necessity,
they just kind of made it a status symbol because that didn't exist.
Yes, exactly.
They had to bring it into existence, and I don't think they were that intentional in labeling the watches. They just had a unique design.
Yeah.
And they had this integrated bracelet. Well, in case of AP or Patek.
Yeah, equally like a new thing that's just come up, recently, is the fashion watch. So, like technically, fashion watches would be dress watches, but they're big, or like usually they're a bit bigger than what a regular dress watch is.
Yeah.
And like I feel now fashion watches are on a different category on its own, just fashion watches on its own. And like people who make fashion watches, I don't think thought, okay, we're gonna make a new category of watches. Yeah, it just happened, or like
they just followed the design and based on what people liked. I think nobody generally cares too much about the naming.
Yeah. No.
So in the end, what would you say a Datejust is? Okay, now let's go to the 41. We discussed the 36 and its similarities, but now the 41 fluted bezel.
And I guess then we can introduce also the precedents here, because they're also part of the family.
They're very similar, yeah.
Yeah, they're also, I think, part of the family of like the overall Datejust.
Dates, yeah. Datejust, yeah.
Dates, but they come in 41 and I want to say 44.
No.
No 44?
No.
Okay.
I think the presidential is 40. I'm quite sure the presidential is 40 millimeters. The Datejust is a 41. And the only 44 is the Yachtmaster, I think.
Yachtmaster,
43 or 44. But yeah, I think it's only 41, depending.
Okay. Yeah. So that one, like, some people do wear it as dress watch, and a lot of people do consider it as a dress watch. And like, if you take that whole like,
I think that's to do with the precious metal aspect of
yes, the precious metal aspect, and like the 80s persona that the linen dials, the linen dials have. Because in the 80s, everyone like they have that Wall Street persona of like like Hollywood represents in New York in the 80s. That's why like it still has that feel of it being like represented with suits and stuff. But I wouldn't think of it as a dress watch. I wouldn't put it on that category.
So if you were to pick certain watches for different occasions, where would you place a Datejust?
Ooh. I feel the Datejust could be a great everyday wear.
Yeah, I think the same.
Yeah.
I think it's really versatile, and it's not too obnoxious.
Yeah, and it's very similar to like what we say a Submariner. Probably not in the look of it, but in like the reliability. It's only 100 meters water resistance, but nobody
cares. Nobody cares. Nobody wears these in any water usually.
Yeah, so I feel it's a great everyday wear. I can see like for sure easily being pulled out as a t-shirt, jeans, even polos, jeans, regular shirts and jeans, and like
I think it should be kind of renamed to like something along the lines of smart casual.
No, for sure. Even
instead of stainless steel sports, I think that's kind of indescriptive term.
But do you think, like I don't know, because stainless steel sport, I think of AP Royal Oak. I think of the
Offshore.
Nautilus.
Maybe.
Like that, a sort of like a off symmetry dial when someone says stainless steel sports. No, but then I guess the Submariner does fit there as well.
But would you compare a regular, let's say 15202 Royal Oak to a Royal Oak offshore? Because they're both stainless steel sports watches. Are they the same? Because one's a diver, right?
Yeah.
The offshore is a diver.
Yeah,
but
offshore
it's
is
still,
a diver. It's still like stainless steel, but
Or would you just say that's a diver and you'd wear it as a diver?
Yeah. I think it is a diver. And
But then the chronograph one brings a lot of confusion into it, right?
yeah. No, So that's why I feel like, okay, categories help identify at first, but they're not
They mean nothing.
they mean nothing. And that's like I guess what we're trying to say with this debate. So like I don't see the Datejust as a dress watch. But then like what does this category, like what does a category even mean?
Yeah, I think it's probably one of the most versatile watches.
It looks good on a suit.
Yeah, that's true.
And okay, it's not a dress watch, but it looks good on a suit. And then like if it looks good, then go ahead.
Yeah, I think that pretty much concludes it. I think there's nothing more to add. And what do you think? Do you like to stick specifically to
Like
dress
rules,
watches or specific rules terminology, or does it not matter to you? And would you wear a Datejust in pretty much any occasion, similar to that of maybe a Submariner? Because people are doing that now.
Yeah.
So would you do that? Let us know. And thank you for watching.
See you next time.